My name is Luca Milcovano, and I am 16 years old. I am currently studying in Rotterdam at Wolfer Bilingual High School. When I grow up, I would like to be a university professor or a researcher in languages. My dream for the future metropolis is for them to become more sustainable and invest in environmental friendly buildings with rooftop gardens. Cities where diversity is seen as an opportunity and where people can enjoy equal opportunities. A city where people are educated to care for each other and to care for nature. My wish for the kids of the future is to make them proud of our legacy and to inspire them to live a sustainable life that will last forever.
My name is Panzo Bamenga. I'm 37 years old. I'm born in Kinshasa, Zaire. In my early childhood, I experienced poverty, injustice, and exclusion. For 16 years, I lived as an undocumented migrant here in Europe. My only wish for the future was to be treated equally as a human being in rights and in dignity, and to live in a society which is just and inclusive. This experience had shaped me. It did not break me, but it made me an ambassador for inclusivity, for human rights, and a fighter for justice.
My name is Adeline Bredenoord. I'm 43 years old. I was born and bred in a small village near Utrecht. And actually, I had a very happy childhood. In the month that I turned 18, I went to a city, I thought then a big city, Leiden, to study theology and political sciences. It was my wish then, but still, that all people have the opportunity and the possibility to become the best version of themselves. And I'm inspired by the idea of being a good ancestor. And what that means, I will explain later during this ceremony.
Thank you, Luca. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Like all of you in the audience, the three of us have our own personal story. But for all of us, experiences in our younger years have shaped us and will continue to shape us in the future. We had dreams that turn into ambitions, and ambitions that turn into actions for a better future. Welcome. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to the university's birthday. We are going to have a wonderful program for you. We will introduce 2 honorary doctors, award no less than 3 prizes, and we will have very special keynote speakers and great music. All the way from the Ukraine by Inoisom. I have the privilege to be your moderator on this 109th Dies Natalis of the Erasmus University Rotterdam. Welcome to you and to the people who are watching as well via our live stream. And I want to start by welcoming once again our first female Rector Magnificus, Adeline Bredenoord.
Thank you. Thank you, Mpanzu, and also on my behalf, a very warm welcome to all our students, members of the academic community, support staff, guests from the city of Rotterdam, and friends of the university. Congratulations to our 109th Dies Natalis. It's also your birthday party. The theme of today is building resilient and inclusive cities and societies for future generations. 50% of the world's population is now living in cities. 50%. This includes many children and young people. How can we, as a university, generate the knowledge that can impact these many lives? How can we foster sustainable, green, inclusive and smart cities where people live, create, work, love and enjoy life, and where children can grow up safe, happy and with resilience? Those are the questions that we pose today. We aim to be a civic university, strongly connected to the world outside academia. And co-creation is one of our key methods of generating new insights. And that is why we have interviewed, through the members of our alumni network, children all over the world to see their perspective and to get to know their wishes. So let's watch some of these interviews together.
Ik ben Esko van Sadden. Ik ben 11 jaar oud en ik woon in Londen. I really like my bass guitar. Here, I'll play you some.
Hi, my name is Martina and I'm 11 years old. I lived in Spain, but I moved to the Middle East when I was 3. Now I live in Bahrain.
Soy Camila Guerrero Lobato, soy de la Ciudad de México y tengo 8 años. Ella se llama Gregoria, es mi mascota.
I'm Manu, I'm 8 years old, I live in Oklahoma and I'm Brazilian.
Oi, meu nome é João, eu tenho 13 anos, eu sou de Araraquara, São Paulo, fica no Brasil.
Kia ora, my name is Josh, I'm 12 years old and I live in Porirua, which is located in New Zealand.
안녕하세요, 제 이름은 이노아입니다. 저는 한국 사람입니다. 전 스케이트보드 타는 걸 제일 좋아해요.
Hola, soy Santiago Julia, tengo 8 años y vivo en Barcelona.
My name is Agbonifu Eran. I'm 12 years old. I live in Osogbo, Osun State, Southwest Nigeria.
Once again, a very warm welcome, and let's enjoy today's festivities because of the Dies Natalis. Thank you.
Thank you, Annelien Brede-Noord. When I think about the question how to build resilient cities and societies for future generation, I think about one of the first lessons I've learned from my mother. And that is, if you want to achieve something, use your imagination, use your talent, and go for it. You don't necessarily have a choice who you are and where you're born, but you do have a choice how you face challenges, how you react to happenings. When I was 5 years old, I left my country of birth. I went from Zaire to France, France to Belgium, and at the end I arrived here in the Netherlands. After living in a refugee camp for some years, I attended a primary school. Just when things were starting to get on the right way, we received a letter stating that we have to leave the country. I remember it like it was yesterday because I saw my mother in tears. I was 11 years old, and this had a great impact on me. We were living in poverty, we were living without the right to work, without the right to education, without the right to travel. And that was the moment when I started to reflect. And I also started thinking about how can I change this situation. I started dreaming of a world which was totally different, an alternative world, which was just and inclusive. A world where it didn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your skin color is, what your sexual orientation is, your gender, your religion, to actually be free and to be treated equally. This world was so real to me that I said to myself, you know what, I have a responsibility to do something. So I said to myself, I will be studying, I will become a lawyer, and I will advocate for policies and practices that would make that dream a reality. Our first honorary doctor is an expert when it comes to resilience of children. Before we start the honorary doctor ceremony, let's take a look on how the children who we filmed picture this future.
Well, I definitely think that there might be hoverboards.
Flying cars will definitely be possible in the future, and maybe we will even have robot workers.
Robots personales. Yo no sé por qué, pero yo siempre he soñado de que los robots caminan entre los humanos.
El auto volador y la patineta voladora.
Like have public transport be a lot more like advanced.
London would be surrounded in water, not because of climate change, but just because the people in London want it.
I would like Bahrain to be a bit more natural, or to take care of the environment more.
Yo me imagino un mundo con más árboles, sin calentamiento global.
I want cars to not let pollution out, and schools and companies and factories to not use styrofoam in their products.
Even though Bahrain is a desert, it's still possible to grow plants and grow trees so that the oxygen is cleaner and everything's more enjoyable.
Sin basura en los mares.
I want the world to be like the Garden of Eden, where children can play freely without the risk of being kidnapped, trafficked, or killed.
We need more sustainable energy, such as solar power, hydro energy, and be less dependent on fossil fuels.
Y que ya no haya incendios.
Robots que salven a la gente de enfermedades y recoger basura en la calle.
미래 지구에는 더 멋있을 것 같아요. 차들도 날아다니고 휘용. 제트팩들도 날아가는 휘용.
May I welcome to the stage Loes Keizers, Anne Maston, Rector Annelien Bredenoord en pedel Marleen Kester.
Dear Rector, esteemed colleagues and dear distinguished guests, here today in this room, but also online. It's my great pleasure and privilege to introduce to you our honorary doctor. Professor Anne Master holds the position of Regent Professor of Child Development, Irving B. Harris Professor in Child Development, and Distinguished McKnight University Professor at the University of Minnesota in the US. She is internationally well known and has received multiple awards for her research on children and their families. Professor Master has been intrigued by the question, how is it possible that some children thrive even when they're faced with adversity? And even when they grow up in harsh environments? And even when they are faced with earthquakes, war, homelessness, or a pandemic. In other words, why are some youth resilient? And this question has actually puzzled scientists for decades. And the answer has come from a truly iconic, continuous stream of iconic publications by Professor Master. Her theoretical scholarship conceptualizes processes of risk and resilience in development as the result of complex interactions between the child, the families, but also the communities and the built environments in which they grow up. And her scholarship actually teaches us that resilience is not something that a child has or doesn't have, but that it's the result of a complex interplay between children, their families, and their communities. Her book, 2014 book called Ordinary Magic, actually summarizes 40 years of resilience research. And it's really a must-read for anyone working with youth or families. But, luckily for all of us, she's also developed now a massive online open course, which each of you can subscribe to today. And it has already been followed by more than 35,000 individuals, and it teaches all about the essentials of resilience. And at the same time that many youth around the world are struggling with the consequences of disasters, such as climate change, or poverty, or the COVID pandemic, the work of Professor Master gives them hope and is reason to be optimistic. For instance, in her research work, she has identified factors that promote well-being and resilience across multiple life domains at once, actually, such as sensitive caregiving by parents, a sense of belonging, but also positive routines, habits, and celebrations, like this one today. Many of these protective factors can be strengthened to promote well-being of next generations, and this fact is especially hopeful for youth living up in more disadvantaged circumstances. The vitality of cities and its residents and communities depends highly on the adaptive capacity of people, especially children and their families. And as such, Professor Master's scholarship closely connects to the Erasmus initiative Vital Cities and Citizens. And in fact, her interdisciplinary scholarship and the successful ways also in which her work promote impact and positive societal impact are a continuous source of inspiration for scholars within this initiative and involved faculties like the Erasmus School of Social and Behavioral Sciences. Professor Master's work doesn't only inform scientists, but has also been an inspiration to practice and to policymakers to more successfully prepare for global issues of potentially catastrophic magnitude. Investing in youth carries forward to next generations. Professor Master's work is therefore a strong call to us adults to invest in children and to provide them with the vital resources to flourish in life. After all, if our society doesn't provide a healthy environment for children to play outside, if healthcare and mental health care are unavailable to some children, and if we damage the ecology of our planet, how can we actually expect our children to be resilient? Professor Master teaches us actually that we should see our world through the eyes of a child and shape it accordingly. And on the occasion of the 109th Dies Natalis of Erasmus University, we therefore honor Professor Master's work and her outstanding contribution to the field of child development in general, the study thereof in the Netherlands, and at our university in particular. Erasmus University warmly congratulates Professor Master with the honorary doctorate we today confer upon her. And now you will hear some official words. By virtue of the powers invested in us by statute and in accordance with the decision of the doctorate board, we hereby confer upon you, on as Master, the title of Doctor Honoris Causa, together with all the rights with statute and custom attached to this degree. And as a token and proof thereof, we present you with the corresponding charter, duly signed and sealed, and clothe you with the kappa.
also, on behalf of Erasmus University Rotterdam, we would like to congratulate you, and also thank you for being here physically. And now the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, this is an incredible honor. Dear Rector, other members of the Executive Board, deans, faculty, students, my honorary promoter, and ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to express in words what a tremendous honor this is to me, that to be recognized for the work on resilience and to be part of this very special ceremony on the 109th Dies Natalis here at Erasmus University. It's a particular honor because I believe that this university has taken on a leadership role in understanding and applying resilience, and I was thrilled that the program was opened with the art and voices of children, which I think is a very important way that we can all support the resilience of children. Oops, here we go. As was already mentioned, we live in very difficult times. Even before the pandemic, we were already seeing the rising numbers of natural disasters, some related to climate change and some not. We also were seeing the price of political conflict, and one of the children mentioned some of those issues in the opening film. But there were also ominous signs of diversity problems in terms of the collapse of our ecosystems, and yet at the same time, people were flocking into cities. It has become increasingly important for us to think about the role of cities in building and nurturing the resilience of societies by the ways in which they invest in the resilience of children. And I'm really delighted to have the opportunity to share a few thoughts about that theme today. Children depend on many systems. They develop interacting not just with families and other children, but with many people in their schools and with many people in their communities. And they're going to encounter adversities. We know there are challenges ahead. We can prevent some of them, and that's important, but we can't prevent everything, and we know that life is full of surprises. And I believe that decades of resilient science have yielded some clues for what we might do. And I was really excited to see that the children have already showed you in their drawings at the beginning, and told you in the remarks that they made what they think we can do. Cities have an important role to play, and I think the children, as well as the science, can be a guide to what can be done. So I want to start by defining resilience. Resilience refers to a multi-system process. It's the capacity of a system, whether that system is a child, a person like you or me, a family, an economy, or city, the capacity to adapt successfully to challenges that threaten that system, its function, its survival, or its development. And I like this kind of definition of resilience because I think we need a systems definition. Because we have to put together our understanding of the entire world that shapes the development of children. Children are embedded in multiple systems, and that influences their development. And the science, we have science on resilience at multiple levels. Some people study the brain development or the resilience of the body. Other people study the resilience of the mind. Others, the resilience of families, communities, and so forth. In order to deal with major disasters and the variety of challenges we face, we need to integrate what we know and put it into action. So I really like these system-oriented definitions. This is illustrating some of these ideas in different pictures. Kids are influenced and shaped by all kinds of people and systems around them. And for that reason, their resilience is always changing throughout development and as children have different kinds of experience. But that also means that resilience is malleable. We can make a difference. We can contribute and build resilience at many different points over the lifespan, although it's important to invest in resilience early.
Over the years, there's been many studies around the world, and I've been following the resilience literature for many more years than I'd care to admit. But as the evidence came to everybody through the research, people began to see, me included, that there were consistent themes. And what was interesting about the themes is that they've already come up in this ceremony. The most important protective factors that came out of the research on children and youth that also are echoed in studies of families and schools and communities make up what I've nicknamed the short list. This is the list of very common resilience factors that have been identified in studies from around the world with many different kinds of people in different environments. And I'm hoping this list won't surprise you. Close relationships, the bonds between people really matter. These are a very powerful part of resilience in children and all the way through adulthood, the social support that we have. And we've already heard about the importance of a sense of belonging, sense of meaning and purpose. Small children really need good caregivers, but as they grow older, they need opportunities to develop their skills, their planning, a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning. And they also benefit from routines and ceremonies. Ceremonies like this one and the ceremonies that celebrate different milestones in life, the beginning of school, the end of school, and transitions along the way, are extremely important. They build the capacity for resilience, and they shape important systems. These systems have evolved for generation after generation, both biologically and in terms of our cultures. And when I wrote this book that was already mentioned, way back when, I called these protective factors ordinary magic because they're part of our human legacy, but we can mobilize these systems to shape resilience in our children. The resilience science has had a very interesting effect on practice and policy over the decades. For many years, people in fields concerned about child well-being focused on risk factors and deficits and problems. And the resilience scientists changed the focus to include an emphasis on positive influences in development because they were observing that many of the children that they were studying who had experienced adversity, such as some of the people we've already met during this ceremony, overcame that adversity and went on to thrive and do well in life. And they realized we need to understand that. We need to understand how it is that people can overcome adversity and what we can do to support developing that kind of resilience. Because we can't prevent all adversities. It's good when we can prevent some of them, but we can't prevent everything. This literature suggests there's 3 basic strategies for increasing resilience. And again, we've already heard about them in the suggestions of the children. We can reduce risk and adversity. We can try to reduce the exposure children have, not just to air pollution and water problems, but to violence and to bullying and to maltreatment. We can, build redundant systems that protect us from the kinds of disasters that are more common in our regions. On the positive side, there's another important strategy, which is to boost resources and opportunities. And again, we already heard from the children. It's important that children nowadays have access to broadband internet and that they have easy access not only to health care before they're even born, but also to green spaces, to opportunities to learn skills and jobs and summer internships. We need to support the systems that support children by providing them with resources and training, including families and schools and recreational centers and so forth. And the third big strategy is to mobilize the powerful engines for resilience that are represented on the short list. Young people need opportunities to play, to learn, and to contribute. And that's why I was so happy to see the contributions of young people to this ceremony itself. They have a lot to offer, and including children not only brings wonderful ideas, but it also builds their own capacity for resilience because they get a sense of empowerment from that experience. So we can support traditions that benefit children and build resilience in cities. And I want to say usually people combine those interventions, but I need to close, so I'm going to move right along here. And I wanted to share my final thoughts. And first of all, this photograph in the middle is a picture I took this morning. I looked out the window, and there was this wonderful view. And it represents to me, this was dawn in Rotterdam, but Rotterdam is a resilient city. You have tremendous capacity, and Erasmus University also is a university that can really take the lead because you have a lot of great programs here that are oriented toward youth resilience. Our children depend on many systems that vibrant cities can transform to encourage their development, and the future of all of our cities and societies depends on realizing the potential of all our children for resilience and dealing with inequities as well. Thank you very much. It is a particular honor to be here in a resilient city speaking with you about resilience on this very special occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your inspiring presentation, and congratulations. So, we've heard them already more than once in our show. Inoysen, Ukraine composer, multi-instrumentalist, producer, singer-songwriter, and laureate of many international competitions of piano, vocal, and compositions. They have a band in Ukraine. When the war started, Inoysen left the country and came to the Netherlands to share her art. Inoysen continues to create new albums and to compose music for movies and cartoons. We are honored to have Inoysen here with us today. They will perform the song Your Name.
The child is born and gets the name to play. It makes him stronger every night and day. The name gets lost and hides away, but hidden flame which makes it run across the heaven for the light. Each eye is brightest diamonds ever, shine so bright, so delight. Which makes it run across the heaven for the light. Each eye is brightest diamonds ever, raises me hopes and now tell me how the magic happens. Dare to dream and just continue with your efforts. Don't give up, try to fight. Close your eyes, feel the silence of your mind. Почуй ім'я в собі. Цвіркуни поколишать вушка мрій. Знайдеш відповіді. Всі імена свої. Tu nombre es tu bendición. Ești posădat, ești naval. Je vous exerce un livre sourire à rire. Conscientious, I exist. Your name.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bravo. Thank you very much, Inois. We will hear from you more during the program. Thank you. Now it's time for another festive part of today's program. 3 prizes will be awarded during the Dies Natalis. We will start with the Lambert Student Excellent Award, named after a famous former rector of the university. This year, the prize will be presented to 2 excellent students who have performed exceptionally well in their study career. May I invite Mr. Alexander Rinoy-Kan to the stage, and he will be award our prizes. Yes. So, you probably want to know who are the winners. See a lot of students here. One of the 2 of you will be the winner. And I will say it right now. The winner of the Lambert Student Excellence Awards are Else Marie van den Herik and Nyota Kanyemesa. Please, come. So, here we have it. This is how it looks like. Well, Else Marie, at first, congratulations. I actually have a question for both of you. Let's start with you first. So, what makes economics a fascinating perspective on the world around?
Yes, well, I thought about this question quite a lot, actually, because economics, I feel like, is about everything. But I think the thing that connects it most is how we look at problems. So economics is about which incentives drive people, how do people make trade-offs, and this method you can really apply to anything. So politics, education, even conflict dynamics are all subjects you can study by using this method. So in sum, I think economics is about everything, and that's why it's fascinating.
Okay, thank you very much for your answers. Please, you stand here. Thank you very much. And now I have a question for you. So what is your research focus within your current research career?
Well, my main interest is in cultural sociology and inequality, and the way that power, knowledge, and language are related. So my focus for now is the dominant structures of thought that we have in our society, and how we talk about people, how we represent groups of people, collective identities, and what the ideological beliefs are that shape and steer these thoughts. So that is something I hope to explore in my thesis.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. Thank you very much. So let us have a picture here together.
Maybe you should receive the award.
Yes, please.
Geef de awards aan de winnaars.
Thank you very much. Else Marie and Nyota. Then we will continue with the second prize of today. Rector Magnificus Annelien Bredenoord is going to award the Research Prize. Annelien, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mapanzu. We have an annual research prize that is for excellent researchers who are still relatively early in their career, when they're just embarking on a research career. And we have a very special prize winner this year, because she is not only an exceptional researcher, but she does many other activities as well. She works at the Erasmus School of Social and Behavioral Sciences SYNC-Lab. She is one of the few scientists who examine neural development in childhood as predictor for successful social development in adolescence. It's fitting to the theme of today. She is a real ambassador for open science, and she organizes many co-creations and impact sessions. I'm very happy to announce that this year's research prize winner is Dr. Michelle Achterberg.
Well, this prize is for you. Please accept it. Okay.
Photo.
Yes, I love a picture. Thank you very much. Let's give you a mic. I also have a question for you. You have researched neural development in childhood as a predictor for successful social development in adolescence. How is this unique?
I think what is really exciting and unique to this approach is that we follow a big group of children since they were 7, and these are all twins, and we see them every year, including brain imaging scans. And this enables me to really study the nature, nurture, and neural development of social competence. And I think to truly capture development, we should really study them while they're developing. And this, of course, takes a lot of time, because you literally have to wait while they grow up. And although patience is not really my strongest pursuit, I do believe in the merit of these longitudinal studies. But these also take a lot of effort, and I think this can only be accomplished through team science. So I also would like to take this opportunity to thank all my collaborators, my colleagues at DPEX, the Child and Family Studies, of course, Luus Keizers, but most importantly, the LSIT team, with whom I've worked on this study for the past 9 years, and of course, Evelien Kroon, which has been a true mentor also for my own development as academic scholar.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, so we will have one more prize to give later on today. For the next chapter in our program, we will move to the field of diversity. When I think about this field of expertise, I think about the opportunities that super diverse cities, societies can have. But I also think about the challenges that we face. How our policies and practices do not always reflect the super diverse society that we are. In April 2018, I was in Ventotene. It's an island near to Rome, to speak about human rights and fundamental values and how to welcome new and diverse Europeans. On the morning of the 30th of April, when I arrived back in the Netherlands, I was stopped by the border police. I looked around me and saw that only the non-white passengers were being stopped. When I asked the officer why, he replied, "We are looking for criminals and we are looking for non-Dutch people." I was shocked. I wrote a social media post about this experience. I filed a complaint and I started a lawsuit with a coalition of human rights organizations, lawyers, citizens against the Dutch state. Last year, the court ruled in the favor of the Dutch state and stated that ethnicity, skin color, can be one of the criteria to stop a person at the border. Professors, academia stood up and they started writing articles about it. Al Jazeera published one of the articles, stated, A Dutch court just confirmed, to be Dutch is to be white. Activists, citizens, and lawyers started presenting and protesting and opposing the decision of the court. At the end, the border police themselves came with a statement that they acknowledge the movement in society and that they will decide to stop using ethnicity as one of the criteria to stop people at the border. Our second honorary doctor specialized in cultural differences in big cities. We will start the second honorary ceremony shortly. First, let's take a look at how the children we filled envision their own future.
Well, I would wake up first of all, and then I'd, of course, have breakfast. But then I think I would get on my bike.
I might be either an actor or a psychologist.
I would like myself to be a professional sports player, or just be rich, I guess.
And then when I got to the airport, I would change into my, of course, pilot's uniform.
Eu provavelmente vou querer ser jogador de futebol ou professor.
Una gran doctora para salvar a los que estén enfermos.
In the future, I would be a gynecologist where I would help and attend to the health problems of women, especially pregnant women.
전 커서 과학자가 될 거예요. 순간이동 총들도 만들고.
Artista, que pinta cuadros.
I would wish that in the future for everyone to be more equal and to have the same rights even if they're different.
Well, people to be kinder to each other.
For everybody to be happy and be able to live a good life.
That people will live in peace without conflicts such as ethnic conflicts, religious conflicts, terrorism, and political violence.
다 착하게 하고 양보해주고 많이 어린이들한테 착하게 해줬으면 좋겠어요.
Once again, a styrofoam-free world, cars that don't let out pollution, and then I will tackle different problems when I'm done with those.
Yes. May I welcome to the stage Suzanne Janssen, Professor in Annelien Bredenoord.
Dear Rector, Professor Ang, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to honor the outstanding scholarly contributions of Professor In Ang today. In Ang is a distinguished professor of cultural studies at Western Sydney University, where she founded the famous Institute for Culture and Society. She was the first person to receive the title of Distinguished Professor at this university in acknowledgement of her excellent scientific work and her eminent contribution to cultural studies. Dr. Ang is also a fellow of the Australian Academy of the Humanities, and she is the recipient of numerous Australian Research Council grants. In Ang published many highly original and thought-provoking books, which appeared in multiple languages. Her research monographs, Watching Dallas and Desperately Seeking the Audience, are widely recognized as classics in the study of media and popular culture. These groundbreaking works have greatly inspired students and researchers across the globe to take fans of popular culture seriously. Many scholars have followed her lead in striving for an open-minded, unprejudiced approach when examining the preferences, viewpoints, and behaviors of different audiences and social groups. In Ang herself has always continued to take the perspectives of different people and cultures seriously in her work, Also, when she turned her attention to new research areas, such as the challenges posed by cultural diversity and issues of the identity in an era of globalization and diaspora. This resulted in more groundbreaking publications, such as On Not Speaking Chinese, Living Between Asia and the West, which was inspired by her own experiences as a person of Chinese descent, born in Indonesia and raised in the Netherlands. In this book, Professor Ang gives a lucid account of the tensions between Asia and the West, as well as the challenges and importance of realizing togetherness in contemporary globalized societies. In her recent work, Professor Ang offers important insights about contemporary Asia and the changing New World Order and the relations between Australia and Asia, as well as theoretical and methodological issues. In her study of international cultural relations between Australia and Asia, Ang and her colleagues critically examine cultural diplomacy and the hype that surrounds it, and explore whether there can be such a thing as a cultural diplomacy beyond the national interest. In Chinatown Unbound, she provides a sophisticated view of new and evolving identities in Sydney's Chinatown, a view where diversity and transnational mobility provide the new normal, provoking, in doing so, substantial theoretical and empirical recalibration. Her most recent work focused on the development of a transnational approach to migration heritage and the developments of tools and concepts for broadly documenting and analyzing Australia's migration heritage. The key themes of Professor Ang's work are also central to research and education within the Erasmus School of History, Culture and Communication and the Erasmus Initiative Vital Cities and Citizens. Both her work on audiences and her research on issues of globalization, migration, identity, diversity and urban cultures are highly relevant to our staff and students. But In Ang is not only a leading scholar in these areas and cultural studies worldwide. She's also a forerunner in interdisciplinary cultural research spanning different areas of the humanities and social sciences. Moreover, she is a champion of collaborative cultural research aimed at creating positive societal change. To advance more inclusive policies and practices, she engaged in partnerships with a variety of organizations, such as the City of Sydney, the New South Wales Heritage Migration Centre, the Special Broadcasting Service, and the Museum of Contemporary Art. Last but not least, Dr. Ang has distinguished herself as an inspiring role model and mentor to younger scholars and PhD candidates. Her work exemplifies and sets a standard for what we aim for in our research at Erasmus University, advancing interdisciplinary teamwork, addressing major societal issues through research collaborations with societal partners, and promoting diversity and inclusion in academia and society at large. For all these reasons, we are grateful and proud that Professor Ang will become an honorary doctor at our university. Now we start with the formal words, yes. By virtue of the powers invested in us by statute and in accordance with the decision of the doctorate board, we hereby confer upon you, In Ang, the title of Doctor Honoris Causa, together with all the rights which statute and custom attach to this degree. As a token and proof thereof, we present you with the corresponding charter, duly signed and sealed, and clothe you with the kappa. Okay. This is yes.
Thank you. Yes, it works. Thank you. Thank you. Also, on behalf of the Executive Board and the Erasmus University, we would like to congratulate you and also we are grateful that you were willing to accept this and also to fly in. It was quite a flight, wasn't it? Congratulations, and also here, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
think we
give you
have
the
to make a picture.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes. He gives a sign that the picture is okay.
It's
so
okay.
Go ahead. Yeah. Thank you.
Let's prepare for this. Well, dear Rector, dear Professor Janssen, friends and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so pleased to be here. And I am especially honored for being able to speak to you today to celebrate the 109th Dies Natalis of Erasmus University Rotterdam. Now, even though I've lived in the Netherlands a long time, Rotterdam is not a city I know very well, but I am pleased that I'm becoming more familiar with it. The city where I live now is on the other side of the world, Sydney, the largest city of Australia with a population of more than 5 million people. Every city has its own local specificities, whether historical, economic, social, or cultural. But across the world, cities today share similar challenges. Challenges that have become more pertinent and complex as the world faces a daunting set of crises and unprecedented change. Rotterdam and Sydney may be worlds apart, but in both cities, people's lives and livelihoods are increasingly unsettled by the impacts of climate change, the energy crisis, or the intrusion of ever more powerful technology in a context of widening social inequalities and rising global geopolitical tensions. As a result, there is a strong sense of cultural anxiety and discontent, a general dread of what the future holds. We can see this in the fraying of mutual trust and in a decline of community well-being and social cohesion. These are not really new problems, but they are more pronounced and pervasive today as the 21st century progresses. In this precarious situation, people need to be resilient enough to navigate the complexities of the present and to face the predicament of the future. Without such resilience, as we've already heard from Professor Madsen, we won't be able to respond constructively to the profound uncertainties and disruptions we are likely to encounter in the decades to come. Usually, these issues are discussed as national challenges. This is certainly what some authoritarian politicians tell us, who whip up the masses by claiming they will make their nation great again. They would say, for example, that Dutch culture or Australian culture is under threat, and that the national culture needs to be protected. But inward-looking nationalism is not what the world needs now, given that many of our problems, such as climate change, have no borders and can only be addressed on a global scale. Such defensive nationalism only makes people paranoid, which is the opposite of resilience. It is in today's large cities where the shortcomings of a strictly nationalist perspective becomes crystal clear. One of the issues that cities such as Rotterdam and Sydney have long grappled with is the increasingly diverse makeup of their populations, in large parts as a consequence of immigration, which has accelerated significantly since the beginning of this century. In Rotterdam, for example, which has a population of more than 600,000, more than 50% of the population is of immigrant background, while 70% of Rotterdam's youth have migrant origins. In metropolitan Sydney too, almost 50% of residents were born overseas, although this figure is higher in some parts of the city, such as Western Sydney, where my university is located. Almost 42% of Sydney's residents speak a language other than English at home. Such figures demonstrate the urban reality of what scholars call superdiversity. Both cities can count up to 200 different nationalities in their midst and are therefore veritable world cities. Such world cities are highly heterogeneous transnational places where any idea of a strictly national culture is transcended. Rotterdam, for example, is so much more than just a Dutch city. Its urban fabric exceeds the traditional confines of cultural Dutchness, just as Sydney's urban culture exceeds the dominant parameters of Australianness. But there seems to be a difference in the self-understanding of these two cities in this regard. While Sydney often boasts about its own superdiversity and, at least superficially, accepts its status as a cosmopolitan city of migrants from all around the world, Rotterdam seems to be less at ease with the diversity brought about by generations of migrants. This is demonstrated by the relative popularity in this city of populist parties with a strong nativist anti-migrant bent, indicating a discomfort in Rotterdam about diversity and a less welcoming attitude towards culturally different migrants. And this despite the fact that Rotterdam has a highly regarded mayor of Moroccan descent. I would argue that to nurture more resilient communities, such polarizing attitudes towards others who are different need to be overcome. This is not just a question of combating racism or of integrating migrants more into Dutch culture. What the city needs is to see that heterogeneity is an inherent advantage, bringing new ideas, new opportunities, and a richer cultural life, and to foster a sense of belonging for all residents, no matter who they are or where they come from. This includes the native Dutch population, which, after all, is itself increasingly becoming a minority in the city. In transnationally heterogeneous world cities, everyone needs to be more open to difference, for society to be living peacefully together and to look confidently towards the future. World cities such as Rotterdam and Sydney have the potential to build such resilient communities. Communities will be more resilient when they are ready to share different resources, accept intercultural togetherness, and are willing to learn from each other as part of the habits of everyday social life. Making this happen takes effort, and much of my research has focused on contributing to this effort. In Sydney, I have worked with cultural institutions such as museums to open themselves up to a much wider range of people than they usually do, and facilitate the participation of diverse people in sharing their stories and knowledge across different publics. Museums are often overlooked as institutions that can play an important role in shaping community attitudes and senses of belonging. Museums are more than just tourist attractions. They should be positioned as essential urban, cultural, and educational infrastructure. As cities are looking to address the challenges of the future, museums are one asset they can use to bring people together, give them opportunities to express themselves and listen to others, and create inclusive, shared spaces for reflection, deliberation, and engagement. I hope that my research has been useful in some ways to highlight the essential role of cultural institutions in pursuing the goal of fostering resilient communities for the future in Sydney and in other cities, including Rotterdam. Once again, thank you so much for giving me this honor and recognition. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ingang, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, we will continue now with, yes, with what, actually?
A celebration of an accomplishment.
For doing something that's not in the ordinary.
É uma bicicleta, pode ser. Ser qualquer coisa, um prêmio.
Algo que te ganas.
For an achievement that he or she has made.
상은 잘하면 주는 거예요.
Yes. So, the third prize that will be awarded today is the Fame Athena Award. May I welcome on stage Chairman of the jury, Ms. Lisbeth Noordegraaf, and Vice President of the Executive Board, Ellen van Schoten.
Thank you very much. First of all, as a chair of FAME, I'm of course very happy to see so many female academics on stage today. And if you want to see more female academics, and you walk out of this room, you will see the portraits of our female professors. So enjoy that. But now, the Fame Athena Award. It's a prize that we hand out yearly for those who promote female talent within the university. And as you can see behind me, there are a lot of people that promote female talent because that were the nominees for this year's award. And I would like to have a special mention for one of our student nominees, Elena Majtek's student of Erasmus University College, who promoted female talent within her bachelor studies. But now we go to the winner of today, or better, I would like to say, the winners of today. Because for the first time, we decided to nominate not one, but two persons. Both candidates have a long-standing history of supporting and advocating female talent within their institutions and also beyond their institutions. And our choice of a joint award also highlights the importance of recognizing the collective work in uplifting female academics. The endeavors they have pursued are not possible without this strong collaboration between academic and supporting staff. And we feel that the sharing of the prize will call attention to the further need for collaboration and coalition building. So, the Athena Award for this year goes to Professor Hanan El Maroun and Corine van der Zande. And now, Ellen, you have some wonderful questions for them.
I do, absolutely. Congratulations with your prize. And could you tell us what initiative are you most proud of?
Well, for sure, that's the Female Career Development Program, because more than 180 women have successfully completed this program. And they found it very supportive and very powerful for their career. And I'm convinced that we must keep on doing these kind of initiatives, not only to get the same amount men and women at the top, but also that feminine qualities are valued on an equal footing as masculine qualities in our culture. I'm very honored. Thank you very much. And of course, I didn't do that on my own. So I would like to thank also the VINA board, Hanneke Takkenberg, Margreet van Rikstol, and my colleagues Lizzie Bonen and Maud Vissers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And congratulations to you as well, of course. And may I ask the same question? What initiative are you most proud of?
Well, the VINA board organizes so many events that there's no single initiative that I appreciate most. I think it's a bit like the building block next to us. All those little blocks, all those activities, networking, workshops, empowering women, making clear that the position of women in academia needs further attention, they all together are more than the sum. So you can have those building blocks and just put them on a pile, but you can also build a foundation for women in the future. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Photo. Yeah.
Winners, yes, thank you very much. So, we've heard many beautiful stories about today's theme, building resilient cities and societies for future generations. What I've learned in life is that we all have a choice. We can choose to take responsibility for ourselves and also for our environment. We can choose to dedicate ourselves to be an agent of change, to reach for the better, or to inspire other generations, to do meaningful things, and to make the world a little bit more just, inclusive, and sustainable. As a civilian, you can be that spark or inspiration for change. I remember when I was 18 years old, I was studying law. But I wasn't able to finish it because I was an undocumented migrant. I didn't have a social security number, and I needed one to finish my internship. I was very motivated, even though I was facing these obstacles. I went to the city, I knocked on the door of a place called Dynamo. This was a youth organization. I spoke to a person there, a youth worker. Her name was Vera. She listened to my story and she decided to speak to her boss. After she spoke to her boss, she told me that I was hired as an intern, even though I didn't have a social security number. In the 16 years that I've been an undocumented migrant, I've met many people, like Farah. I'm sure if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be standing here today. As a civilian and academia, you can be that Vera. If you apply the principle of inclusive persons, which is see the talent, give opportunities, remove obstacles, and provide people with a platform where they can shine. Rector Magnificus Annelien Bredenhoort will give her Dies speech shortly. But we have some special message first. 2022 is the European Year of the Youth, shining a light on the importance of European youth to build a better future. EU Commissioner Maria Gabriel recorded a video specially for us.
Dear Professor Bredenoord, dear members of the faculty, dear students, it is a great pleasure for me to address you today on the occasion of Erasmus University Rotterdam's anniversary. The long path behind you is impressive, with generations of young minds shaped, academic successes, and extraordinary contributions to research and global knowledge. Desiderius Erasmus not only lent this name to your university, but also to Europe's successful Erasmus Plus program, which celebrates its own 35th anniversary this year, and which has shaped more than 10 million young learners. In this era of great societal challenges, the importance of quality education and of young people cannot be underestimated. That is why the European Commission has made 2022 the Year of the Youth, to shine a light on the importance of European youth to build a better future, greener and more inclusive. If we are to succeed in making our world more sustainable and to be able to accomplish the goals of the European Green Deal, we must also work to transform the way our cities work. Globally, cities consume over 65% of the world's energy and account for more than 70% of global CO2 emissions. Universities and their students, researchers, and academics can help develop new technologies for cleaner air, design safer transport, or implement new ways to engage citizens in the fight against climate change. I'm delighted that Erasmus University Rotterdam's Culture Campus is one of the 6 projects funded under the new European Bauhaus Lighthouse Demonstrators Call. Your project is a great example of how the new European Bauhaus can make the Green Deal tangible for citizens by transforming cities into sustainable, beautiful, and inclusive places. Furthermore, Rotterdam is part of our flagship European Cities mission, which aims to achieve 100 climate-neutral and smart cities by 2030. Cities such as Rotterdam will then act as innovation hubs to put all European cities in a position to become climate-neutral by 2050. Education and research are without a doubt crucial to building resilient societies and citizens and to guiding us towards a more sustainable future. In a quickly changing world facing many challenges, our society needs more than ever the contribution of universities such as yours. I look forward to see all the great progress and exceptional accomplishments you will continue to achieve. Thank you very much for your attention.
I don't know about you, but hearing the thoughts about the future from the children this afternoon made a big impression on me. And by the way, also the personal life story of Mapanzu. And sometimes the children's story also gave me a smile on my face. Since I became a parent myself, and now that my family lives in a big city, Rotterdam, like half of the world's population, the question of what world we live in and what world we will leave behind feels more urgent than ever. Honorary doctorate and Maston's statement, not investing in the next generation is immoral, is particularly striking in this context. What is our role as a leading, future-oriented university in this? We already heard the massive challenges our society faces: climate crisis, the COVID pandemic, polarization, the war in Ukraine and all its consequences. Society has to deal with big challenges that scream for solutions. In these situations, it often happens that we need to choose between the option of short-term gain or the longer-term vision. Nobel Prize-winning economist and psychologist Daniel Kahneman, who received an honorary doctorate from our university at the Dies of 2009, he researched the constant struggle of our minds between short-term and long-term, respectively the thinking fast system and the slow, rational system of thinking. It can be tempting to choose for short-term improvement, but we very much need the second system of our minds with problem-solving, concentrated capacities. This summer, I read The Good Ancestor, like I said in my introduction. In this book, philosopher Roman Krznaric shows us how we can use our human ability of long-term thinking. If we do this, we can be good ancestors for the generations that come after us. And we should not only think about the next generation, our children, but also about their children and theirs. As a university, we work on difficult, big issues that are usually not solved within one generation. We need to formulate what economist Mariana Mazzucato calls moonshots, as I also refer to in my rectorate transfer. Big, ambitious goals like the man on the moon. Krznaric uses the term cathedral thinking for projects like this, cathedral thinking, referring to the building of the big cathedrals in the past. The work we do at our university acts as building blocks for a figurative cathedral of the future. Like the countless people that worked on the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, we might not see the end result ourselves, but that should not discourage us. So let's take a look how we, as a university, build our own cathedral. Let's call it the Erasmus Cathedral, to honor our namesake and the past 109 years of constantly developing science. As scientists, students, and supporting staff members, we should ask ourselves what our moral responsibilities towards future generations are. The goals our university sets in terms of excellence, sustainability, integrity, diversity, and inclusion are indispensable for that. It creates the framework in which science can flourish. We can excel, and we can really make an impact. How can we make sure that our generation and the ones after us can feel like they can really use their talents regardless of who they are or where they come from? Representation matters. So we try to achieve that everyone can recognize themselves when they visit our university, when they enter our university. One aspect of that, already mentioned, is gender, diversity in top academic positions. And that is why we recently created a gallery with portraits of our female professors. When you leave the aula after this Dies ceremony, we can walk up on one of the two stairs to take a look at this impressive gallery of our female professors. A big thank you to Professor Semia Denktaş and her D&I team that they made this possible. And the next step, of course, is to make sure that we have in all academic positions multiple visible dimensions of diversity. Another example of making academia future-proof is our recognition and reward program. In our modern world, full of wicked problems, an academic career has different requirements and needs than it used to have. We create a framework in which all members of our academic society can thrive, both in their field of expertise, but also personally. Diversifying career paths will enrich our education, our research, and our impact, and it makes us more resilient and more attractive as an employer for new generations. We realized that both our employees and our students can only thrive when there is some headspace. Headspace to be creative, to think and learn deeper, to explore new avenues of knowledge and collaboration. With an exploration of the building blocks of our academic year, we are searching how we can design a smarter academic year. For example, by shortening our academic year, which is the longest compared to other Dutch universities, and by harmonizing the academic calendars between the schools. This exploration is done here at Erasmus University, but we are also pioneering together with the University of Amsterdam in a national pilot at the invitation of Minister of Education, Culture and Science, Robert Dijkgraaf. The aims are to improve collaboration and exchange between schools and to reduce work pressure. Lecturers will have more time for research and teaching improvements. And we'll have more physical possibilities for collaborating inside and outside our universities. Students will have the advantage of more breathing space and more flexibility for courses at other schools or internships. As an outstanding university, we have experts and expertise in various fields, but that is not enough. In these times, we can't make a difference if each discipline keeps itself in their own field. With a transdisciplinary approach, we want to create synergy. The result of collaboration is more than the sum of its parts, and only then we are able to start to solve big issues. There are much more initiatives, centers, and collaboration at our university than I can mention right now. But today, I want to highlight a few that directly contribute to the resilient cities of the future, the theme of today's Dies Natalis. As of 2023, 2 of our inspiring top scientists will be appointed for 5 years as so-called Erasmus professors. This new, honorable position will create a multidisciplinary environment for obtaining our strategic goals through impact-driven research. To start, we will appoint 2 Erasmus professors, and from next year on, each year one of our professors will join them. So I'm very proud that Professor Eveline Krone and Professor Monique Buijsen will be the first 2 Erasmus professors. A big applause. Eveline and Monique will be visible key figures in Erasmus University motto, making a positive societal impact. They will pave the way for future generations of engaged, co-creating, transdisciplinary professors and reinforce the links within the UR, as well as the link between the UR, the community, and society. Eveline Krone will be leading a team on engaged research methods on how we can involve publics and stakeholders in research. Monique Buijsen will be leading a team on the societal aspects of artificial intelligence, a key technology and theme of the 4th Erasmus initiative. Both have shown to be role models in future-proof academia, and they are outstanding team scientists, because future-proof academia is also team science. And these are 2 leaders, but of course there are many more people from our community involved who are indispensable to make this a success. We have the ambition to have 5 Erasmus professors, so more will follow in the coming years. Vital Cities and Citizens is one of our 4 Erasmus initiatives and one of the examples of mission-driven research. Over 30 scientists from the field of psychology, sociology, public administration, educational sciences, communication, arts and culture, history and anthropology work together to explore what is essential for a city in terms of equality, safety, sustainability, and a harmonious coexistence. For 60 years, the Institute for Housing and Urban Development Studies has been educating urban professionals and consults governments about urban development to improve the well-being of people living in cities. These are examples from our own university, but we also need other educational institutes with their specific fields of expertise. We are very proud of our Convergence Alliance with the Technical University of Delft and Erasmus MC. The work of our joint convergence initiative, Resilient Delta, is a fantastic example of transdisciplinary research and education that focuses on finding long-term solutions for the enormously complex societal challenges that we are faced within the Rotterdam area. Vital Cities and Citizens, EHS, and Resilient Delta are all 3 interdisciplinary organizations and programs that work together on today's theme, building resilient and inclusive cities and societies for future generations. Initiatives like these, and we have many more of these, they are not set up to fix our problems in just a few years. Their research is complicated, focused on results that contribute to a long-term sustainable solutions by mapping the issue, inspiring policymakers or encourage further research, and educating a new generation of leaders. As the civic university that we want to be, we can't be separated from the city that we are part of. We need the city of Rotterdam and all the societal partners and entrepreneurial spirits in it. We provide education, research, and employment. And the city feeds us with these issues, people, and case studies. The mutual connection and interest are essential for both Erasmus University and the city. And lastly, we need national and international collaboration to learn from each other. Maria Gabriel already mentioned some examples on European level in her video. Erasmus University is also part of UNIQUE, a very valuable transnational network of universities in post-industrial cities. We work with local partners in city labs to contribute to local communities and increase the resilience of cities. And all these local, regional, national and international collaborations, networks and partners are fundamentally important for our university. World citizenship is, after all, one of our 5 Erasmian values. And now all other people can refer to all the other Erasmian values, of course. These values are part of being an Erasmian. So, of course, all of you are also socially engaged, connecting, enterprising, and open-minded. It can require some effort to make the shift from wanting short-term success to contributing to more long-term improvements. And the thought that you might never see the results of what you set in motion can be discouraging. But if you realize that each building block of a cathedral, how small it may be, is essential for the final results, then I hope that you feel that spark. So when you go home after today's festive celebration of our 109th year anniversary, think about how you can contribute to the Erasmus Cathedral. Which block are you building on? And who can you collaborate with to make it even more future-proof and impactful? It is only together that we can make this a better world, and each one of us can be part of that ambition. So I invite you to take the Lego block you found underneath your seat. Yes. Okay, so don't play with it yet, please. Did you find the Lego blocks? Yes. Well, please let it stay in your hand for a while. When we leave this aula, everyone can make their contribution to the symbolic cathedral that we're building together. Or, as we say in Dutch, draag ook je steentje bij. Before I will be closing the ceremony, we're going to listen one more to Inoise.
Thank you. Hope you will enjoy this Cosmic Guys song. Have a magic vibes, dear friends. These cosmic guys in my head, singing their song, whatever they can. If you stuck in a black hole, just sing with us. It's a blockchain of my heart, feeling very cosmic now. When I see these crypto stars, they say you can dance with the stock and sings like cats. It's a blockchain all my life, feeling very sacred now. When I see my holy ways, from my life to my death, from my life to my death, from my life to my death, my death. cosmic eyes in my head, singing their song, whatever they can. La 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 la. If you stuck in a black hole, just sing with us. La 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 la. It's me dancing with the stars, such fluffy clouds I can lay on them. La 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 la. If you stuck in a black hole, just sing with us. La la la. From my life to my death, from my life to my death, I see this graceful soul flame dancing peacefully through the unknown. This another dream in noison from this lucid dream world, guided by the mind's eye and conducted the imagination. La 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 la. These cosmic eyes in my head, singing their song, whatever they can. La 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 la. If you stuck in a black hole, just sing with us. La 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 la. It's me dancing with the stars, such fluffy clouds I can lay on them. La 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 la. If you stuck in a black hole, just sing with us. La 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 la. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for celebrating the 109th Dies Natalis with us. Thank you to all the speakers and guests, the organization and the audience here in Rotterdam, but also via the live stream. I hope it has been a very inspiring afternoon, that the stories, the videos and the music were very inspiring as well. And for me, it was an honor to be your moderator.
And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the people front stage for their contribution, particularly Mpanzu Bamenga. I was really impressed by your personal story. Thank you very much for being here. But I also would like to thank all people backstage that we didn't see today, but who worked tremendously hard to have this afternoon. So I would also like to have an applause for all those people like Maarten, Alejandro, and many other people involved today. And of course, another congratulations to our two honorary doctors and the other prize winners. And as I learned today from Professor Master, there's one way of building resilience, and that is by having celebrations and ceremonies. So this was the ceremony part of the day, and we invite you to have drinks with us, so to have the celebration part, so where we can build resilience with each other while having a drink. So we combine two things. Thank you very much, and once more we're going to listen to a Noisen, and then we're going to close the ceremony. Thank you very much. Yeah, she is.